what this day is about. So on behalf of my brothers and sisters and our respective spouses, I'd like to thank you all for coming today. There are a few people that need to be mentioned by name for their kindness and support over the last several weeks. In no particular order, and with apologies to the ones that I've surely missed, I have to give many thanks to Al Stevenson for his extreme generosity and with the ease of putting this all together, making this possible. Thank you, Al. Bobby Henkin, thank you for being Rich's good buddy and for your understanding and for your offers too, Bobby. Thank you. Ellen Robinson for being such a good friend and making the effort to stay in touch with Rich even with 1,500 miles between you. Mary Moriarty for your everlasting friendship. I know that meant a lot to him. We are grateful for the benevolence you all have shown our family and especially to our sister Mary. I'd like to quickly acknowledge Pat and Kenny Rowe. Kenny and Rich go a long way back. Kenny, remember that time you popped up in softball with the bases loaded?
Remember the time you drove home in reverse on Hillside Avenue?
It's nice to see you both. Seriously, thank you.
You should have told me this. I'm adding this to the list.
You drove home in reverse on Hillside Avenue.
Rich had a beautiful funeral mass, and there was a wonderful outpouring of love from many friends and neighbors in his adopted hometown of Tequesta, Florida. But we felt the need to have something in New York. And although he was taken way too soon, we'd like today to be more of a celebration of Rich's life than a mourning of his death. And it's our hope that today is filled with more laughs than tears. You guys hear me in the back? Good? So we received many condolences and expressions of sorrow since Rich passed. But today I'd like to say to you, his AAA family, and his New York friends, that we're sorry for your loss. And we know how much you loved and respected him, and we know how much he'll be missed. Born on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, August 22nd, 1939, his childhood was not an easy one. He didn't know his father very well. His mother had polio and was wheelchair-bound for most of her adult life. And he had a sister who suffered with mental illness. As a result of his mother's condition, there was a time when Rich, his sister, and 4 brothers were sent to an orphanage, a place that he always eerily referred to as the home. But September 28, 1968 is where the story begins for our family. 29 years old, recently discharged from the Air Force, and barely 135 pounds soaking wet, Richard Lamberton married Elizabeth Ann Brooks, our mother. Betty Ann, or Liz, was struggling to raise 4 children on her own. Luckily for Rich, his new instant family consisted of 4 perfectly well-behaved little angels. At 8 years old, I actually recall thinking, is this guy nuts? He very well may have been nuts, but he quickly became the stabilizing force we all needed. For that, our collective gratitude is boundless. He was kind and patient with us, but firm when he had to be. The word stepfather never flowed easily from my tongue. Even though I called him Rich, he raised me like a son. We were all fortunate to have him in our lives, and I hope some of his many good qualities have rubbed off. Rich loved his children and their spouses. He really loved spending time with his grandchildren. But the real apple of his eye, the person that could melt him with a glance, who he absolutely adored with all his heart, the one who forever changed his life. No, not Mickey Mantle. The daughter that will forever be known as Mary Doll. As kids, we marveled how Mary Doll had Rich wrapped around her finger. I'm not sure we always thought it was so cute. Of course, now we do. The truth is they shared a father-daughter bond that is beautiful and it can never be broken or diminished, ever. Rich definitely helped inspire a sense of adventure in us. We had some great trips in the 1969 VW bus he and Mom scrimped and saved to get. Whether camping in the Adirondacks or cruising along Southern Lakes Drive in Harriman, I can still remember the distinct brand new smell inside that bus and how heartbroken we all were when the bus was stolen right off the street. Rich was easygoing, but he could be intense. He was non-confrontational, sometimes to a fault. He was a perfectionist when it came to work around the house, Consequently, projects often took longer than expected, significantly longer. Mary reminds me of him saying, everything has a place and everything in its place. And you wouldn't spend so much time looking for things if you put them in their place. That was the German in him. He loved his swimming pool and was obsessive about its maintenance. He loved his Yankees. He loved his beer, or should I say light beer. He loved to dance the Lindy and sing. He had a beautifully soothing voice. As kids and even as adults, we would always bug him to sing the Mousy Went A-Courting song, and then all chime in at the Rich was great at telling the corniest jokes. He loved Jim Reeves and Patsy Cline. He loved Perry Como. We didn't always have music in common. He liked to watch Jeopardy. That we had in common. And he was proud of his service in the Air Force, although he didn't talk about it much, only occasionally reminding us how cold it was when he was stationed in Fairbanks. And did I mention he was crazy about the Yankees? Rich loved the AAA. Over the years, we listened with amusement to all the wacky tales and interesting characters that worked at the club. It's nice that some of you could be here today. I think I learned what a setup was when I was 10. Bobby Hinken reminded us that going to check the boiler room was Richie's code for slipping out to the Blondie Rock. Apparently that boiler needed constant attention. You remember that? Probably because he felt so strongly about the club and took such pride in his job, Rich grew weary with things towards the end of his AAA career. He just wasn't enjoying it the way he used to. It was time for him to retire. Once he made the decision, he generally started looking forward to it. I remember him counting down the days. After he retired, he seemed a bit more relaxed and appeared happier. He wore retirement well, but all was not well with Liz. I know I speak for all my siblings when I say how grateful we were for the remarkable job Rich did taking care of our mom in the last several years of her life, as Mom's health began its long, slow, and painful to watch decline. Rich stepped up as the primary caregiver, losing more and more of his independence as her condition deteriorated. After Mom died, Rich began spending more time in Florida. He met and married Pam Kennedy, a friend of Lenny and Mary Colorados. Fittingly, Rich was well looked after by his new Florida wife during his own health battles. Before he got sick, Rich was a young 70-something, enjoying a nice life for himself. He really took to golf, and the community where they lived had quite a social scene. His kegerator was always full, and 5 p.m. cocktails at the pool were rarely missed. And someone else got to maintain the pool. He still really enjoyed tinkering around the house. There were always projects to take care of, which now took even longer. The projects took time, and time was the problem. He needed more of it. He just needed more time. We all needed more time. More time with Rich. It's hard not to feel cheated. To my brothers and sisters, I'd like to say it's just us now. We have to stick together. Let's all raise our glass and toast to a good man, Rich Lamberson. Thank you.
Cheers, cheers, Mr. Rich.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ellen Robinson would like to say a few words.
Well done, well done.